Hello out there in internet land. It's Carnivore Grandpa here, and I got a special guest with me today, Carnivore Grandma.
Hi, everybody.
This is my wife, Sue. We've been married for 36 years. We have 12 kids, we have 6 kids, 12 grandchildren, and we're responsible for all that, which we're quite happy to take credit for.
Yes.
I brought Sue on because she has had some issues with her health, just like I did. Only hers were a little different than mine. It wasn't high cholesterol and high blood pressure. It was something different. So hopefully this helps somebody out there. Hopefully if you find somebody that you think could benefit from hearing this podcast, please share the link with them, get them to listen to it. Let's get people healthy. That's the whole objective of this. Remember, our motto is to prolong our youth, not extend our old age. So, without further ado, I'm going to interview my wife, ask her some questions. Okay, just a backstory. Sue was sick about 8 years ago, had sepsis, went through rounds of antibiotics for extended periods of time. Was in a coma. The doctor said they didn't expect her to live through the night at one point. So that's the backstory. That was her health then. She dropped to 120 pounds. She was skin and bones. I had to take 6 months off to look after her feet. I had to feed her. She couldn't raise her arms to her hands to her mouth. Just awful. And so I'm quite thankful that she's here today. My best friend. And I didn't want to lose my best friend, that's for sure. So during the course of that time, what would you like to say about that?
Oh my goodness. Well, we only have a short amount of time we're allowed, so I've been told to keep it brief, but that's tricky for me. So when I was septic, of course, I went septic twice over the same issue. So I was on a lot of antibiotics. I was on, my first hospital stay was 10 days. I was on antibiotics through IV then. Then I was home for 2 weeks and then back in for another 12 with another round of sepsis. At that point, I was on IV antibiotics, and then I was put on oral antibiotics, and then I was sent home with another 2 weeks of oral antibiotics. So we figured it out to be about 22 days in total that I was on
IV antibiotics, and probably another 22 days with oral antibiotics between and after the second round of IV antibiotics.
So that did a tremendous amount of damage to my guts. And I remember on recovery, I would be lying on the couch and just feel like my guts were on fire. And Mark would bring me ice packs to lay across my belly to try and get some kind of relief, which was very minimal. That was day in and day out, and day in and day out for several days.
And what was your favorite food at that point in time?
Once I started to gain an appetite back, it was red meat. I could not get enough red meat. Mark would make me steak on the barbecue, and he would chop it up into tiny little pieces and fill a cereal bowl, and I would just inhale that. I could not get enough red beef, and I was not a meat eater. I have often told Mark in our earlier years I could be happy to be a vegetarian. I loved my veg. Meat was just kind of like the thing you do. And
it was more a lean meat, chicken breast.
Yes, skinless.
So when she said, I'd like a big bowl of steak, I was
and
just shocked.
Not too well done.
Yeah.
It had to be a little bit, red. And that was another thing. I was never a rare meat eater. So this was new territory for me, but that was what my body was saying, red meat. And so he would just keep the red meat coming.
Yep. Cooker steaks.
Yep.
So then we went back to our normal
once I got healthy, which was about like you said, 6 to 7 months of to get back to where I felt relatively normal, um, cognitive aside. Uh, then we went back, and then I started eating. I think something had happened mentally where I could not get enough food, so I was just eating and eating, um, and I went up to 173 pounds, which I had never in my life been that heavy. A lot of carbs, a lot of garbage, a lot of comfort food, and yeah, so that's what happened over the process of the next year or two. Was that just eat, eat, eat.
Then about 3 years ago, we started researching for my health needs, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and found a ketogenic diet, which you jumped on because it was basically for weight loss.
Yeah, I was looking for a weight loss. I had hit that high weight, and I wasn't feeling great, and I wasn't looking great, and I thought I got to do something, and so the ketogenic diet sounded pretty good to me, and yeah, we jumped on there.
Yeah, and then about a year later,
Yeah.
I went carnivore.
Yes.
Because I was researching and saw the benefits of even dropping even more carbs for body composition and for health.
Yeah.
My blood pressure went down even more. My cholesterol levels evened out. My triglycerides dropped. My LDL went down. My HDL went up, which is a good thing. And just felt better, felt stronger, felt more alive, felt younger. So I stuck with that. My wife, who's, said, well, that's great for you.
Yeah.
But,
So, yeah.
I'm happy with keto. I need my veg every night. I need my salad every once in a while. And so tell us what happened
Well,
then.
and I thought, you're taking it, I thought to myself, okay, he's a push the envelope kind of guy. And, but he's also very studious and researches, does a lot of research and a lot of studies. So I respect the conclusion he came to, but it wasn't for me. I was not. I didn't even have any interest in heading in that direction of a meat heavy or carnivore diet. I was happy with keto.
And I was happy you being on keto because I knew keto diet was healthy.
Yeah. So then, about a year and a half ago, fall of
2018?
No.
2019.
Shoot. Sorry, guys. Hang in there.
About a year ago.
No, it was a year and a half. Yeah, late fall 2018. I started feeling what I thought was the flu. I got bloated, upset tummy cramps, a headache, burning behind the eyes, chills, just feeling kind of crappy. And I thought, okay, I've got the flu, and then got over that, returned to normal life. A couple months later, I had all the same symptoms, and I thought, oh, that's weird, having the flu, 2 months apart. That's kind of unusual for me. Anyway, carried on, and then I noticed that I was starting to feel that way almost like bi-weekly. And then it got closer together and closer together, and I got to the point where I wasn't eating solids because there was like a 50-50 chance that I would get bloated, feel nauseated, and just awful. And so I just stopped eating solids, and I had to
dropped weight like crazy.
Yeah, I had to step down from our local food bank, which I loved volunteering there. I couldn't commit to things, special events. And the worst thing of all was I couldn't commit to having my grandkids, which is my absolute favorite thing in the world. I could not commit. I always had to add on, if I'm feeling well, this can work. And that was just not the quality of life that I wanted. And so we went to the doctor.
Mm-hmm. After she had basically stopped eating solid food for 2 weeks and dropped a lot of weight.
And she ordered tons of blood work. She did poop smears. She ordered imaging.
Endoscopy.
I had the scan done. It came back normal. She sent me to
gastroenterologist.
Yep, gastrointestinal doctor. I don't know. And he said, we needed to go on fiber. So we needed to take Metamucil, and we need to just keep increasing it until I start to feel better. Now we'd already.
And he diagnosed you with IBD,
Yes.
irritable bowel disease, and leaky gut.
Yes. So after that, we had already been researching.
Oh, you told you to increase your fruits. Increase your fruit intake.
During this time, I'd also met a very special friend online. Her name is Paola, and she is actually a moderator for Dr. Ken Berry, who's one of our keto doctors that we have listened to for years now.
Who has since gone carnivore, but still teaches on the ketogenic diet.
And she had been through a similar journey to what I had been. So we connected, and she began to help Mark and I with information. She's a tremendous friend and a tremendous resource. She's very wise, and we were able to learn so much from her. And she's still walking this journey with us, more as a friend now than a food eating coach. But so we decided we were going to take my health into our own hands. We were not going to go on fiber. Mark had researched and found that there were many people who had what I had or similar symptoms and had gone on a beef diet and had decreased or eliminated their symptoms completely. So that's the train I jumped on. And
I started cooking her steaks.
So I went just to beef, and within a few days I started to notice an improvement in how I was feeling. And over the course of weeks and months, the symptoms didn't return. I got stronger and stronger till I was throwing back a full ribeye and loving every minute of it. My one concern was, I had two concerns. One was a lack of fiber. What will make me poop? How will I poop? Mark reassured me it's going to be okay. And the other thing was dark greens, full of all these minerals that we're supposed to need, right? So it was like, how am I going to get those? And Mark again assured me, and Paola assured me, you're going to get those things in your meat.
So you had been pooping probably, 2 to 3 times a week. So what is it like now?
So now I poop daily. So it's better than it was when I was, obviously when I was a carboholic, and definitely even better than keto.
Yeah.
Even better than keto. So that's, no more bloating, no more chills, no more weakness, fatigue, no more low mood, which I didn't mention, which was huge. My mood was so low during those weeks and months that I was suffering. And now I'm just back to my old self, and I'm happy to remain in this way of eating as long as my quality of life is good. I'm good with this, and I've reintroduced eggs, cheese, cream. I eat fish and pork,
scallops,
and yeah. So
not too many though, because scallops are high in carbohydrates.
Yes, but they're so good.
Yeah.
And I do have the odd mushrooms with my steak, and I also have the odd blueberry. Very odd, very limited. Can't go high on anything like that. Blueberries and cream, and the odd maybe 3 times in the last year I've had some asparagus, and maybe only 1 or 2 stalks. That's it. And so far, so good.
So if you know anybody who has irritable bowel syndrome, irritable bowel disease, Crohn's, leaky gut, introduce them to this video, get them to watch this video, because it's very important that we live a good life. We live the best life we can live, high quality.
Mm-hmm. And you don't have to suffer through those symptoms. There is an alternative. And you know what? There may be things you have to give up, but I look at my life and I think I would gladly give those up to have the quality of life I have now, that I can enjoy my grandkids, and I can commit to doing things and not worry whether I'm going to be sick that day.
Most of these diseases, I think, are due to chronic abuse of antibiotics, chronic use of fiber, and chronic carbohydrate intake. So we got about 5 seconds left. So we're going to sign off and we'll see you guys later.